third use case that's come out of Ethereum and smart contracts are NFTs, which stand for non-fungible tokens. An easy way to put what an NFT is, an NFT assigns, it's an instrument that assigns ownership. So
a non-fungible token.
Non-fungible token. So let's break that down real quick. Non-fungible token is basically if I have a $100 bill, and I give you a $100 bill for a $100 bill, I get the same $100 bill back, right? It's the same thing. We treat it the exact same way. It's the same exact thing, right? It doesn't matter if it's serial numbers different. It's still a $100 bill, right? If I give you a trading card, say a rookie Mickey Mantle baseball card, and you give me $100,000 in cash, we've traded something totally different. So that card is a non-fungible asset.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can't trade it for something of the exact same thing, right? That's a non-fungible asset. So you take that to the blockchain, now you have non-fungible tokens. So these are things like art. You can have an art piece that can be converted into an art piece that can be converted into a NFT, because you can't take that art piece and duplicate it. I can't give it to you and you give me another one just like it. It's unique. You know what I mean? You can have numbered copies of it and things like that, but the original is unique. So NFTs are going to, this is another thing that's come out of Ethereum, again, come out of the use of smart contracts, that's going to change the world and is doing it as we speak. So let me give you a couple examples. Event promotions, events in general, are all going to be sold as NFTs. You want a use case? Just look up Floyd Mayweather. Everybody knows who Floyd Mayweather, the boxer, is, right? The undefeated 50-0. Some people hate him, some people love him, but
that's how he promotes his fights.
That's how he will moving forward. Look up Floyd Mayweather. He just announced that his next fight will be sold as he'll have an NFT component to it. So how that will work is you'll buy a ticket as an NFT, and with that will be packaged like front row seats, autographed, whatever. There'll be a whole package of stuff that comes with it, and it'll be very unique. So that's one way. Art. The art industry has just exploded this year. That's where people are hearing about NFTs because of art. There's a recent NFT. Hey, Michael, do we have the Beeple? It looks like just a collage of a bunch of garbage picture of that we could. There it is. Look at that.
We sure do.
Okay, that right there was just sold for $69 million this last year.
That
somebody bought that, and if you're on the podcast listening, you don't see it. It's just a collage. You could just look at it as a puzzle of a bunch of different pictures, a collage together, and that's all it was. And somebody bought this for $69 million. Now, there's a little backstory to this in this sale. Some may say it was a shady underground deal because the two guys, the seller and the buyer, were kind of connected in a weird way. It's a long story to go into, but a lot of people say it was kind of a sham in a way. But regardless, these types of art, digital, basically they're just digital pixels these are all his individual pieces of art put together in one. $69 million somebody paid for that.
Wow.
So the art industry obviously is changing because an NFT assigns ownership. So it's basically like an online digital certificate that says, hey, this is authentic and you own it. That's basically what an NFT is. But it can, because it's digital and it uses smart contracts, now we can code that smart contract for that NFT to say, okay, yeah, I not only do I own this, but I own any future rights to the sale of this. And I don't have to take somebody's word for it because it's going to automatically happen because of the smart contract. So in other words, I could take a picture of my face and doctor it up a little bit, sell it as an NFT online, and put in the code that says, hey, I'm selling this to you, you're buying it, but if you sell it to somebody else, I get a percentage for life. So if that person sells it, I get a percentage. And that person sells it, I get a percentage. So the content creators and the artists are now have a way of getting paid for their art exponentially forever,
Wow.
without anybody being able to, get in the middle of that. So
That's awesome.
it is awesome. And used properly, the art world can change forever because of that. Obviously, there's a lot of bad things that can come with that. There's going to be bad actors, like with any technology, that are going to,
Right.
try to skew it and make it work for them. But I mean, the underlying premise of it is going to prevail, I think. So the art world has changed forever. Another use case is the music industry. So we could take that same concept for art. I'm the artist. I made a piece of art. I'm going to take that now and make a music track. Now I'm going to sell it directly to you as the consumer.
It's like the artist's own iTunes.
Yeah, basically. Yep. That's exactly what you can equate it to that. So now instead of iTunes, putting the money back into Apple's
Wallet.
$3 trillion wallet, the money goes directly to the artist. So they can make that contract divisible. So they can sell, 100,000 NFTs of that one track. There's a young rapper, hip hop artist, and man, I didn't write down his name. I wish I wrote down his name and give him a shout out. But young guy that put out a track, it kind of went viral a little bit, and he went platinum in like 12 days.
Wow.
Directly to the consumer with no middleman. So he's benefiting directly.
So he owns the rights and everything too.
He owns his masters. He owns the track. He owns the future sale of that, everything. So if you don't think the music industry is just completely turning
completely
upside down right now, it is. The big music companies are scrambling right now trying to figure out how they adjust to this, because it is changing drastically. And there's a lot of facets to that, the music industry, that can be, imagine this. Imagine buying a ticket as an NFT, which we all will in the future. We won't buy tickets how we normally do. We'll buy them as NFTs. And when we buy that NFT ticket, it's going to come packaged with certain things. So it's going to maybe come packaged with maybe a couple additional unrecorded tracks. It may come with the tickets for the seats. Oh, it may also come with backstage passes. And it may come with some certain merchandise that gets mailed to you, all within that NFT. And that's how we'll buy things in music and events moving forward. So NFTs are going to change that game.
It's crazy to think of just the technology that goes into this. It just blows your mind.
It's all underlying technology.
Things that it's going to replace.
It's all starting. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It all started with Ethereum. Started with this 20-year-old developer, and it spawned into being able to do all these things. And a lot of people out there, like you, like me, have no idea this stuff's being built.
No clue.
And yeah, it's not perfect right now. Yeah, I hear proponents all the time, and just doing research. Oh yeah, but you have this problem, you have this hack, or it doesn't do this right, or it's just noise. Like, look at what's being built and the foundation that's being laid. All these little things will be fixed in the future, but these things are gonna happen.
Well, most people come into this and they haven't. I mean, like me, I had no clue. I heard Bitcoin. I'm like, that might be a way to make money. Maybe.
Yeah. There you go. Well, yeah. Some people have. I think if you're going to make money in this game, that you're better off understanding the technology rather than thinking of it, I'm just going to put my money in this, I'm just going to make a bunch of money. I think if you understand and follow the technology, if you just follow our podcast from this point forward and then start taking some action along the way, I think you're going to win this game. I think that's how you win from an investment standpoint. And remember, this is an investment advice. We're not financial advisors. We don't advise financial advice whatsoever. And I got a little buddy that says that, our little ATM dude that we have on our staff now, Rocco 5000. He very explicitly says that. But that's how you win the game. I really do. I think if you understand, did you know anything about Ethereum?
No clue.
Before this. So now you understand, what's spawning off of this technology.
Yes, I mean.
So we're not done there. Okay, so we're at the music industry. So we have data. How our data is being used, how it's being stored, who's benefiting from the sale of that data. I mean, that's $1 trillion business. Everything's about data now. Well, now we have a way to turn in data into NFTs.
So nobody can see it.
Nobody can see it. It can be controlled by the people that create the data. I'll give you an example. Like I'm working on a project right now that you can purchase an NFT or a hashtag. We all use hashtags like on social media. Hashtag this, hashtag kiss my ass, hashtag fuck you, whatever the hashtag is. But we all use them, right? But we don't. Does anybody benefit from that?
No.
Well, that's data. Like we're using a hashtag. That's data driven, right? There's a reason that you use a hashtag. So it links all those topics that whatever that word is, and there's data being driven off of that. And it's being put into analytics and it's being sold. So people are making money from using those. It's just not the people using them. Well, this protocol allows you to do that. So now you can purchase a hashtag as an NFT, just like you would buy a domain name. And now you can earn crypto 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through the use of that hashtag. So every time that hashtag gets used, you get, in a sense, you get paid.
On any social media platform.
Well, they rolled it out on Twitter. So the use of Twitter, which is the most used hashtag social media. Second would be Instagram. So as they move forward, they'll be implemented into Instagram, Facebook, Truth when Truth comes out. All the social platforms. They'll be having trackers to be able to. They call them oracles to be able to go out and track the use of those hashtags. But they're turned into NFTs.
Wow.
And that's available right now. So that's another way somebody could get involved with NFTs on a data side. So that's data. So another thing is inventory controls. So you can assign. There's people right now. There's youngsters. I call them youngsters, like teenagers and 20-somethings, that are able to purchase street apparel, T-shirts, tennis shoes, whatever, as NFTs. And as they get sold, they get pieces of that. So you could be a clothing developer and say, I'm going to make 5,000 of these T-shirts, and they're limited to 5,000. I'm selling them as NFTs. So as they go out into the world, they get direct compensation for those sales of those, and future sales as people resell those. So another way, the inventory controls, they're being used right now by Walmart and Microsoft. I brought up Moet, Hennessy, and Louis Vuitton. They're assigning like luxury items as NFTs. So you buy a Louis Vuitton bag as an NFT. Well, you get a real one sent to you in the mail, in UPS or FedEx, but along comes unique ownership of that particular bag. Maybe it has your initials on it, or has somebody's, Louis Vuitton's initials on it. And now you have a certificate that says, hey, it's authentic, it's on the blockchain, you can resell it, and they still get paid over and over and over again. Because Louis Vuitton, once they sell you a bag, right, they don't make any money if you sell it to somebody else.
Right.
Now they will. So think about how that changes retail and how retails look at selling items. Why not sell it as an NFT so you can always get paid if that transfers? And it's going to assign value to it too, right? So if that person buying it thinks, hey, I can sell this down the road and it's going to be worth some more money. It's
definitely a different income stream for
retail
businesses.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially high-end luxury items, for sure. Collectibles, things like that, are going to be drastically transformed. And every major retailer out there right now is looking at a whole new way
of
bringing in money.
Dealerships would be able to do that with cars.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. Especially high-end luxury cars, like
right.
a super high-end BMW. And we're a little story about that when we really get into the NFTs. But so... yeah, luxury items, luxury cars, all that stuff will be drastically changed. Let me run down through this quick list, and we'll just talk about what questions you have. Another disruptive industries, basic contracts between companies, legal contracts that don't require mountains of paperwork anymore. They could be on the blockchain, stored securely, where they're easily accessible. Can't be tampered with. The healthcare industry, medical records, access to those medical records. There's a project that I'm involved in now called MetaBlock that uses all your medical records are now on the blockchain. Only accessible from you. You have the private keys to those medical records, but you can give them a public view of those records to anybody. You just give them your wallet address. So you're not relying on that data being stored in someone's server that anybody could have access to.
Right.
So the healthcare industry, tracking medications better. The entertainment industry. Obviously, we talked a little bit about music and art, but take that further into live events and movies, how movies are going to be purchased and watched and collected. Real estate. You touched on that a bit. Real estate deeds and real estate contracts, rental contracts, all that stuff will be NFTs in the future. Fashion, we talked a little bit. There's a company out there called 55.com, and they allow fractional ownership of their clothing line. So you could buy a fraction of a certain T-shirt, and as it gets sold for life, you'll get a piece of that pie. The food industry tracking, from harvest time to the checkout will all be done on the blockchain through NFT technology. Music industries like insurance, gaming. Gaming we're going to hear a lot about this year. The whole gaming industry is changing drastically. Kind of a reference to Ready Player One, the movie. Have you got to see that yet?
I have not got to see that yet.
That's homework for Michael and for Chris. Ready Player One, because Ready Player One is an example of the gaming industry and how it's going to be. How it is now is nothing compared to what it's going to be in the next probably 5 to 7 years. Ready Player One is really damn near dead accurate. I mean, it's a little bit maybe skewed, but it's very accurate as far as where gaming is going. So the gaming industry, insurance, you'll buy your policy as an NFT. So if you get in a wreck, you'll get payment instantly. There'll be an algorithm written for it, so you'll get paid out in a better way. Insurance companies will have a better way of tracking their policies and their analytics. Obviously, we talked about finance. Finance is changing forever.
Completely right.
The government's changing with it too. What about voting and ID requirements? You'd have your ID on the blockchain where it's secure. It's not controlled by anybody but you. There's already protocols being made that will validate your ID without giving up personal information.
Nice.
Imagine how that's going to change voting. We hear about all this voting fraud, and this last election was full of it. These machines don't work right, or there's voting fraud keeping people from voting. There's multiple people voting. There's fake IDs. There's this, there's that. This changes all that. If it's used properly, changes all of it. Once you could only vote once.
Definitely.
Your ID is validated. I mean, you get instant results.
We definitely need a system
like why do we have to
that
wait?
Everybody trusts.
Why do we have to wait for CNBC or CNN or somebody to say who the president is or who the governor is? No, we should know that in real time. Right. As people vote, we should know. We should know exactly the second that.
As soon as it ends.
Yeah, as soon as a percentage gets to where they're the winner, we should know that instantly. And it shouldn't be some news organization that tells us what they want us to hear. Oh, they won, but there's a bunch of voter fraud potential here. No, it's going to be what it is.
Cut and dry.
Yep.
Period.
So you got that. You got web browsing. Our web browsers are going to change drastically. We're going to get paid by browsing. We're going to get paid by, and when I say we, the people using these platforms, content creators, podcasts. People that put videos on YouTube. Just any kind of content creator is going to have a vehicle now to get compensated rather than these big greedy organizations, hence like Facebook and some of these organizations that take the content and just make billions and billions of dollars. Now the people making the content will actually be able to participate. That's all going to be done through NFT type technology, Ethereum type, blockchain technology. So the stock market exchange, inventory controls. We talked about a lot of this stuff. And that's really just scratching the surface, which is insane. Like I just rattled off just those things alone are pretty much going to change our
Right.
world.
It's kind of mind blowing just to know that there's different things out there we'll be able to use.
And this is one protocol. This is Ethereum, right?
Right.
Smart contracts being able to be executed on the blockchain. Now there's a whole bunch of new projects